All right, back here on Inside Wrestling Radio. On the down the telephone, we have Ryan Howe from this year's Tough Enough. And before the break, Ryan, we were talking about a little bit of your history and what got you into the business, and of course your time here on the this season's Tough Enough. I gotta tell you, man, before we get back into this thing, I've watched all the Tough Enoughs over the years, the old ones there on MTV and stuff like that. But I feel like this one, they really stepped their game up, man. And I mean, with the trainers and with the show itself and everything. But one constant, man, in every season was Bill DeMott. And I've had Bill DeMott on this program before. Got a lot of respect for the guy. He knows this business inside and out, man. And I know you guys have had this quote-unquote feud thing going between you guys, but I don't even think it was so much that. It was more of it was as a motivational tool. What's your real opinion on Bill DeMott and the whole deal with the Skidmarks nickname and all that stuff?
You know, I respect Bill and everything he's done. I mean, of course, I admire him, and no matter, as a professionally, I look up to him a lot. You know, he's done a lot, and he's, you know, he knows his stuff. Like you said, he knows the business inside and out. My opinion on the Skidmarks thing, you know, like he said it was a tool for motivation. That's great. I mean, I can hate it all I want, but you know what? I'm not going to accept it, of course, by any means.
Sure.
But I will, you know, acknowledge that, you know, it helps you to, you know, help me to say, you know what, I got to prove to this guy, you know, I can one step higher, more and more, you know, that I really want this and I want to win it. Hopefully, just the fact that I stayed in that competition as long as I did, which was hard of a time for the game. I mean, believe me, we had cameras on 24/7, but I mean, there was never really there was no off-camera time because we get asked it a lot. But there was a lot of stuff. I mean, he ripped on me so much I can't even begin to describe. I mean, it wasn't the Ryan Howe Bill DeMott show. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So we couldn't quite. I mean, there was so much stuff that I was like, I think in some way he at least respected that, and I don't know, maybe it showed him there's something in me that I didn't quit or that I didn't give in to any of that or whatever. I mean, I did let some of that get in my head. I said that at the end of the show, and I truly feel that way, but that's something I've never done, and for some reason Bill was able to get in my head just enough to make me feel like I wasn't as good or maybe had a little more to work on or whatever. But, you know, on another hand, that competition is kind of like the military. You know, they're breaking you down to reform you, and they definitely broke me down enough to where, I mean, I can let all strings go, you know, and just any strings attached no more, you know, just kind of roll with it.
Yeah, I got you. Ryan, I've had a couple of guys. I've had AJ Kirsch on the show, and also the Jeremiah Riggs, and all those guys, man. And they talk about that elimination process, that bottom three process, where you're in the ring there with Stone Cold, and you spoke of the editing of the program there. And they also talked about the training where you guys would be in the ring for hours and hours and hours, which would be edited down to, what, maybe 20 minutes of you guys being in the ring, so nobody really got the real impression of what you guys were going through. Tell us a little bit about that bottom three process, man, when you'd be in the ring and how long that thing went on. And
Yeah, they're absolutely right. I mean, keep in mind, a big part of that show, like, you figure with commercials and everything, the show might have been 40 minutes a week, right? Well, 20 of it was the elimination, so you figure all the week's events up to that point, and then they took 20 minutes of that easily, and just a percentage of that elimination made it, you know, on the air. It was an intense thing. Like, if you watch it, sometimes I just see myself so... Like, I could have come up with so much more witty answers. I swear, like, I sit there and watch at home and thought, man, I could have said this or that or whatever. And you're just there for hours. Like, I've seen my face just get so tired looking. You watch, you see a lot of the competitors, like, sweating and stuff, you know, because you're there for hours in that ring, just, like, you know, face-to-face with Stone Cold. He just screaming at you, ripping you a new one, you know, you know, wanting you to really, really prove why you won it and why you should be there, and not only that, but why you should win it, you know. It's pretty intense.
Who were some of the guys that you did get to meet that came in, the superstars?
Oh, man, met first with Cena, Big Show, Mysterio, Stacy Keibler, Bret Hart. Yes, Bret Hart. He was the one that, he was the one that really stood out to me.
Sure.
Like, out of all of them, I kind of had that shock and awe moment when, you know, he came out.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I mean, you got to realize Bret Hart is wrestling history. So when you're looking at a guy like that, you are basically looking at the history of this business. So yeah, I imagine that really was a kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he really is one of those, like, faces of an era. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
He's Bret Hart. You know.
Yeah, exactly. What more needs to be said? He's Bret Hart. I've asked the other guys I've had on from the show, and I'll ask you too. Who do you feel that you will continue a relationship going forward out of this season's Tough Enough the cast? And who do you feel on the flip side of that coin that you probably don't feel like you want to have any other contact with going forward?
I left on pretty good terms with everybody. I got along with everybody pretty well. I was one of the few that actually did. I mean, aside from Mike, top of the list, I'd definitely say Matt, Barton. Those two guys are really, really cool guys. I knew Matt from the Indies a little bit. I'd never met Barton, met him on the show, and he's just a cool guy. I think he's definitely got a good personality and kind of that, when him and Matt both, when you meet a lot of these superstars or meet celebrities, you just talk to them like, as a person, they've got a lot of charisma and something unique, and they've got that. I like to think I do too, and we all kind of mesh in that way pretty well, and I wish all the luck to them and think they definitely both have a good shot at getting in there. Eva Lee's a very, very talented girl. Hopefully she gets what she deserves in this, in this business.
Yeah.
Worked very hard for it. Comes from Puerto Rico, and I'm sure everybody knows her story. But I met her in the Indies too a little bit. Her and Matt were the only two I knew before Tough Enough. Luke and I definitely a hot and cold kind of. We had more heat probably than Mike and I, even though they made Mike and I a big deal on the show.
Right.
But we can tolerate each other, and I do respect the guy, and think he's got got potential to be to have hit. Just got to work on it for whatever reason or whatever he's got to work on, do it, get there,
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
And one that I won't really continue a relationship with, I didn't have a whole lot of correspondence or relation with Ariane or Christina. They just, talked a little bit, but not much. And Andy was another one. He kind of kept to himself. I did too to some degree, it was their business, and he was just somebody I never really was able to talk a whole lot about. So, more luck or good luck to him. He's in the WWE doing his thing, and that's great. Whatever,
Yeah, well, and to that end, Ryan, what were your thoughts as a contestant and as somebody who spent time with these people on that finale there between Andy and Luke Robinson? What was your thoughts on that thing, man? What were you thinking while that was going on? And on top of that, do you think the right person won?
Oh, man. First of all, between those two, I don't want to knock either of them. But, I did feel like there were definitely two other, I'm sure there were other people that could have been in the final two and been there rightfully so. Luke, man, he managed to run his mouth and go on about himself for basically the entire season and still be entertaining as like a rusty nail, there's still no entertainment there. Andy, I just, silent rage. You want to market yourself as silent rage. Okay, you're going to entertain the entire WWE universe by not saying a word. And then I want to go, okay, if there was a real silent rage, let's see, me, overlooked, underestimated.
Right.
Okay, that justifies as silent rage. And, to him, I just say, whatever impression or Skidmarks he hopes to leave in the WWE, I will be right behind, leaving a footprint with the same size 14 boot that's going to go up his behind and kick him out of my way on the way to become a legend. So,
yeah, I got you, man.
That's that, and that's what that's what I can leave it at. Could there have been a better winner? Absolutely. Even out of those final two, definitely. Out of the final three, definitely.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Martin got injured. I feel like, I don't make excuses, but I honestly feel like I kind of almost put myself behind the 8 ball by letting that Skidmarks thing and all that get to me.
Kind of get in your head, yeah.
Matt Cross, incredibly talented guy. Unfortunately, he had to go with him this second week, and just because he had one moment that he didn't shine through and kind of failed to show what they were looking for. But, everybody's got a lot of talent, so those are my final thoughts, brother.
Well, I appreciate your honesty, man. I really do. And I've talked like I said, I've talked to a couple other contestants this year, man. And the thing that I just, and again, not a knock on Big Andy. The dude's got a contract and he's up there doing his thing. They did another segment with him this week on Raw. But I just, the announcers would say, oh, this guy's got all this charisma and all this talent and all this skill. And bro, just from an outsider looking in, watching the television program, personally, I never saw it. But, who's to say, what may come in the future? And I'm sure they're working hard with that guy to get him to where they want him to be. But, out of those two, and, nothing against any of you other guys, but out of those two that went up there for the final, I definitely would have went the other way because Luke just seemed to be firing all cylinders there in the last few episodes.
I agree, yeah. The only thing Luke could have potentially lacks just a little bit of
humility.
A little bit of humble nature.
Yeah.
But could have more entertaining in a different way. There's a little bit of creativity I felt he lacked some ways. Just talking to him as a person and as a performer. But Andy, like you said, you and me both agree, and I'm sure 90% of the wrestling viewing world, they got their hands full down at FCW, brother.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Let's try to make this guy something. He can't just stay quiet forever, but he might end up being.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, that's a terrible saying it, but it is.
It is what it is, exactly. Ryan Howe, man, listen, thanks so much for coming on the program, and we got a couple of really short seconds here left. Before we let you go, I know you've been really busy, man, doing these shows back to back, and that's why we kind of been going back and forth getting you on the program here. But we were able to finally get with you and set a time aside because you really have been working a lot since leaving Tough Enough there. Tell us where you're going to be competing, what shows you got coming up, any internet presence or anything else you want to plug.
All right. Well, every Wednesday we're down at OVW working with some great talent there. Got a really good thing going there, and I think they air the new episodes debut. They'll be online every Saturday, and also on local Louisville TV every Saturday as well. This weekend we're down at FTW, and I believe it's Dyersburg, Tennessee. Yeah, we're in Mount Vernon, Illinois, the 31st for Pro Wrestling to succeed. White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, the 27th, which is Wednesday. And UWE in Gladwin, Michigan for Eric Freedom on July 30th. So, guys, just keep an eye out online. That's the best way to do it. Check my Facebook. It's under Ryan Howe, not Skidmarks. And I keep it updated a lot, to dates, and also Jesse Bell. We tend to have a lot of the same dates together. Kind of nice having a fiance that wrestles, too. We get to travel around and get beat up, and most of the time beat people up if we're lucky.
Well, Ryan Howe, man, thanks again so much for coming on the program, and continued success to you and everything that you do, man, and we look forward to seeing you there on WWE television in the future, and congratulations to you and Jesse Bell Smothers there on your upcoming wedding, I think next year, right?
Yes, that's right, for next summer. And in the meantime, and like you said, everybody keep an eye out on WWE television. I am bound and determined to get there one way or another, so hopefully with everybody's help behind me, keep watching.
Ryan Howe, again, thanks so much for coming on the program, and best of luck to you and everything that you do. All right, that's going to do it for the interview portion of the program. We'll be right back here to close the show on Inside Wrestling Radio coming up next.